What happened to scientist Amy Eskridge?
There's a lot of different feedback that comes back about what happened. We don't really know. I mean, the family has said that it was Amy and she unalived herself, as you said, and that there was a coroner present and ruled that determination and that it was conclusive. But shortly after, we heard from other people that that was not the case and that there was evidence to the contrary. And so I think most of us and just held off on making opinions on things. And I think that there have been two sources that Nicole and I have that have said there's an investigation. There's still an investigation. It's an ongoing investigation. And that's also contrary to what happened after she passed away, when people were trying to find out if there was an investigation, if it was a homicide. And the Huntsville, Alabama detectives said there was nothing about Amy. There was no investigation. And so publicly facing to friends and also investigators who were looking into it shortly thereafter, the police and the law enforcement line was there's nothing. And so now we know 2 years later there are investigations happening. So that would indicate that there is something more going on. Whether it was the people that were around her or it was some, foreign nation state, which was also put up as a potential hypothesis, or it was potentially somebody able to operate pretty much without impunity, right, for either a contractor or, one of the contractors, and that there was potentially a criminal element. So those are the different opinions. There's, what most folks are saying that are around Amy and her family and her life, and we're trying to be respectful of that. But we also know there's a lot of other alternative reporting happening from very credible sources.
So in your estimation, you believe that she did not take her own life, that she was taken by another way?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm keeping my mind open, and I have been keeping my mind open. I've gone from one opinion to another opinion, which it's hard not to. We don't have any proof for anything, right? Everything we're hearing is circumstantial. It's all through our resources, our friends, our contacts, witnesses, people who were close to the family and who still are, who opinion, which it's hard not to. We don't have any proof for anything, right? Everything we're hearing is circumstantial. It's all through our resources, our friends, our contacts, witnesses, people who were close to the family and who still are, who continue to talk about Amy. But there's been some high profile things that have happened lately. George Knapp talked about Amy, and that was some exposure. And so things have come out from that. People have made comments, have touched base. More information has come from that. And it still seems conflictual. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I do think it's conflictual enough that we should keep our eye on it, be supportive, and spread the word about her and what she was doing so people know the dangers and the risks, especially for our scientists.
But hey, let's pause there for a second, because you brought up some very public things, and that's really what that's really where it kind of branches from 2 years ago to now. 2 years ago, it was quaked through our private community. It was like, oh no, Amy's dead. It was absolute suspect. Like, everybody that was sort of close to her was fearful that it was some sort of warning. Like, that's what was being like whispered about. And that's the first time I was like, done, Amy file, no more. Like, anytime you come up against something like that, you're just like, no, isn't worth it. And I don't know what